September 1st, 1939. The world wakes to the sound of gunfire in Europe. Within days, nations will be dragged into the deadliest conflict in human history. A war that will span 6 years, touch every continent, and cost over 70 million lives. This is the entire history of World War II. To understand how the Second World War began, we need to go back to the end of the First. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 didn't just end World War I, it humiliated Germany. Harsh reparations, territorial losses, and a crippled economy created resentment so deep it became the perfect breeding ground for a dangerous new leader, Adolf Hitler. In Italy, Benito Mussolini rose with promises of restoring Roman glory. In Japan, militarists sought to dominate Asia and secure resources for their growing empire. The world was still recovering from the Great Depression, and as authoritarian regimes rose, democracies were hesitant to confront them. The stage was set, and the fuse was lit. On September 1st, 1939, Germany unleashed Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War, on Poland. Tanks, planes, and troops moved with terrifying speed. Britain and France issued an ultimatum: withdraw or face war. Hitler ignored it. On September 3rd, they declared war. World War II had begun. Over the next year, Nazi Germany's war machine seemed unstoppable. Denmark and Norway fell. Then Belgium, the Netherlands, and finally France. In just 6 weeks, Paris was under Nazi control. Britain stood alone. In the summer of 1940, the Luftwaffe launched the Battle of Britain. Waves of bombers aimed to break the nation's spirit. But thanks to radar, skilled pilots, and sheer determination, the Royal Air Force held the skies. For the first time, Hitler's advance was stopped. Meanwhile, in the east, Japan pushed deeper into China. In 1940, they signed the Tripartite Pact, officially allying with Germany and Italy. The world was now divided, the Axis powers against the Allies. In June 1941, Hitler betrayed his ally Stalin, launching Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history. Millions of German troops stormed into the Soviet Union. The fighting was brutal, the conditions unforgiving. At the same time, tensions between the United States and Japan were reaching a boiling point. Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Battleships burned, over 12,400 Americans died. The next day, the United States declared war on Japan. Within days, Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S. The conflict was now truly global. 1942 marked the turning of the tide. In the Pacific, the U.S. Navy halted Japan's expansion at the Battle of Midway, sinking 4 aircraft carriers in a decisive victory. In North Africa, British forces under General Montgomery defeated Rommel's Afrika Korps at El Alamein. And in the freezing ruins of Stalingrad, Soviet forces surrounded and defeated the German Sixth Army. It was Hitler's first major defeat, and the beginning of a long retreat. By 1943, the Allies were on the move. They invaded Sicily, forcing Mussolini from power. Italy switched sides, though German troops fought on. In the Pacific, U.S. forces adopted island hopping, capturing key islands while bypassing others, inching closer to Japan. The Soviet Red Army pushed west, reclaiming territory at staggering human cost. June 6, 1944, D-Day. The largest amphibious invasion in history. 156,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy, France. The cost was high, but the landing succeeded. Paris was liberated in August. By the end of the year, German forces were in retreat on all fronts. In December, Hitler launched one final gamble, the Battle of the Bulge. But it failed. The end was near. April 30th, 1945. As Soviet troops closed in on Berlin, Adolf Hitler took his own life in his bunker. Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 8th, VE Day. But the war in the Pacific raged on. Japan refused to surrender. The U.S. captured Iwo Jima and Okinawa, but losses were horrific. Then, in August 1945, America dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Over 100,000 were killed instantly. On August 15th, Japan surrendered. The war was finally over. World War II left the world forever changed. Over 70 million people were dead. Soldiers, civilians, victims of the Holocaust, bombings, and famine. The United Nations was created in the hope of preventing such a catastrophe again. But the end of one war was the beginning of another, the Cold War, as the U.S. and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers locked in an ideological struggle. From the ashes of the Second World War, the modern world was born. World War II was more than just battles and borders. It was the story of courage and cruelty, unity and division, destruction and rebuilding. Its echoes still shape our lives today, and that is the entire history of World War II.